Hey guys, how's everyone doing today? Kevin here, the Crazy Bearded Christian. Today we're brought to you by my company, the Ammo Can. Exciting things that we're going to be doing with this. We actually started the company back in January of 2000 and I believe it was 19. It might have been 2020, I don't remember now. But anyway, we started the company right as the pandemic hit, and I'll tell you what, it's been pretty interesting. It was January 2019 because we were preparing to get everything underway, and then the pandemic hit and shut everything down. Business is going to be selling ammunition in a very unique style. We'll go into that a little bit later, and we hope to have it up and running in the next, in the next couple of months here. It might take a little bit longer depending on what the government does and what the pandemic decides to do. But let's get right into it today. Last time that we were together, I had pulled the fuel pump, the in-tank fuel pump from my 1971 M35a2 military truck. As you can see, I'm sitting right beside it. I've got myself with my box fan again. It's a nice, probably mid-80s outside today. A little bit of a wind, so I'm taking advantage of it with the fan with a little bit of extra wind here. And so what I've got to do right now is I'm going to replace the fuel line that runs from the pickup tube to the strainer at the bottom of the fuel pump. The old one here, I'll get it for you and I'll show you real quick. So give me just a second here. Just one moment. The old one is pretty ratty looking. And I'll show you what it looked like here. So yeah, it's pretty nasty looking. You can see it's got the whole section knocked out the side of it. If you can see that at all, but it's swelled and it definitely had collapsed and corroded. You can see where the line spent most of its life in the fuel. And so that definitely needed to be replaced. I suspect what was happening due to the condition of this hose here and how squishy it is when my inline 24 volt fuel pump was kicking on. I think it was sucking this line closed and it was restricting fuel flow. And so we're going to go ahead and replace it today with some new fuel hose. Going to be using 1/2 inch fuel hose, and I'm going to show you how I go about this and how I'm going to do it. I'm going to make sure that there's no leaks on it, and then I'll have to wait on the gasket because I thought I had ordered the gasket from Big Mike's Motor Pool, but evidently that is one of the things that I did not order. Worst case scenario, we will make our own gasket, and I will show you all how to do that as well. All right, so let's get into it. Turn this around so you all can see what I'm doing and not me. All right, so here we have the in-tank fuel pump. Turn sideways here. And on this in-tank fuel pump, you can see, I believe you can see this anyway, but where the pickup tube connects at the top of the tank and where it goes at the bottom at the fuel strainer. You'll see these connections right here. This is really easy to do. All you got to do is get you some 1/2 inch fuel holes, and you'll see this is what I've got right here. You can see that real well. And I'm going to take and I'm going to cut off an approximate section based on the original. pretty original to me. Looks a whole lot better. I'll get this cleaned up a little bit more. It's got some gunk on it still. And then we're going to tighten it down and we'll clean it up. Now, this is a 5/16 inch socket. It's what it takes to lock these down. Now, they do have a flathead or a bladed head screwdriver that you can use, but don't waste your time. Get you a socket, you'll appreciate yourself. We're gonna make sure that we are turned the right way here. Nothing like loosening a part that you're trying to tighten. All right, and so another thing that I did want to point out is on these 24-volt inline fuel pumps, you want to make sure that your fuel pump is installed correctly and pumping in the right direction. Because if it's not pumping in the right direction, then all you're doing is putting air into your fuel tank and not pulling fuel out of your fuel tank. Since this is not an air tank and it's a fuel tank, you're going to want to make sure that you've done that right. All right, so for today, that's what I've got for you. We're going to seal this hole up so that the rain don't get into my fuel tank, and I got to order a gasket, and I'll get this cleaned up, and then we will catch you when we reinstall everything. God bless. We'll see you later. Hey guys, Kevin here, the Crazy Bearded Christian. So we got our gasket made. We end up just going and buying a pre-made or a gasket kit so I can make my own gaskets. The gasket's not perfect. As you can see here, it's a little out of round, but it'll work for what I'm doing, and I'm going to seal it anyway. Normally you can take like a coffee can and really you could use a protractor too to make a perfect circle. I cut it out with it on there and poked holes through it and then cut out the exterior just so I could get her sealed up and get her working. And so I'm going to seal this thing up, and then I'm going to attempt to bolt it back down and get everything back in place. So just bear with me and we'll see if we can't speed the whole process up. Let's take your pump here, wipe it down real good here. Spray it off real good to get rid of some of this stuff. One more time before we put it back together. It goes in just like this right here. and we got it. Turn this. Make sure everything's lined up with where it's supposed to go. And then all we got to do, line the bolt holes up at the bottom, which I can do pretty quickly here. Lift this up. There it is. Tacker. Clean my hands off. Everything's so slippery I can't hardly keep a hold of it. Well, I'll get a few of these started where they need to go so I know everything will line up. If we need to, we'll poke some holes to help with getting them started here. Glad that was all shut. Oh. Now, what I'm going to do is get a nail or a screw to kind of, or here, this drill bit right here will work. And I'm going to use it to make sure that my pilot holes are lined up right. Let the gasket come loose just a little bit. And that's okay, it just helps spread it out. There we go. So there's pilot hole lined up. There's two. Those two alone should really help get it lined up. I keep dropping stuff. It's just one of those days. I'm sure you all have had those. Now what I've done, I've got these little washers here. You can see metal on one side, rubber on the other, and I'm using these hex head bolts, or these socket cap bolts. The reason I'm doing that is I thought that it would help seal it a little bit better and help kind of hold it in place a little bit better. So we'll see how those work out. These bolt sizes are 1032, so they're supposed to be the same size as what was on there. They're just made a little bit different, a little bit more convenient if you ask me. I mean, that's practically flight. So we're gonna get this one started here. All right, that looks pretty good. I'll give you all a little bit closer peek of what I did here. And you'll see all that. Pretty clean install. Washers are right in place. Have to clean a few things up here, but overall, look pretty happy with it. So next thing I've got to do is install the bolts for the cap here. With the nuts, I mean. what I'm going to do now is I've got to connect this line right here, and once I connect this line back, I'll have to hook my fuel pump back up, and we'll see if she fires up. So hang with me for a few minutes. And folks, that's how you do it yourself. Work with what you got, make it work. You can go from this old ratty piece to something pretty nice. All right, put my gasket material back up. And they even keep scraps like this because sometimes you can make small gaskets out of it if you need to. Alrighty. Now, I was having a little bit of issue out of the pump. So this is the out end. And this is the in. So basically what you want to do, you want to make sure that this thing here is facing the right direction. And so that's what we're going to do. We're going to make sure all of our fittings are nice and tight, which I've tightened them a few times. And they seem to be pretty tight, so I'm not too worried about that. All right, folks, get it all back together. Feel that freedom. You did it yourself. Congratulations. You know, that's what we're all about here. We want to make sure that you're living in freedom. Now, we know with God you can't do it yourself, but God sure can equip you and give you the wisdom and the knowledge and the skills to do a whole lot of things. And I'm telling you, you will love the feel of that freedom. So let's see how our work went. We're going to try to start this puppy up and see if it works. So let me move you all back quite a ways here. Let's see what kind of angle we got. All right, we got the hood up. I'm gonna walk around and I'm gonna clean my mess up just real quick. Folks, I think we got everything lined out now. Let's see if our fuel pump job did the trick. If you've never been in a deuce and a half, it's a little bit loud. Knock my head off. Woo. Sit y'all right here. Just a minute. See if we can get her started here. Take a second for the fuel to circulate all the way. There she goes. All right, guys, so my 1971 M35a2 D turbo deuce and a half. I'm gonna show you all, for those that are curious if it runs. You can hear it for yourself. It runs pretty good. I gotta put the mushroom cap back on. I changed the air filters, the reason I have that off. I'll show you all what I was talking about. So as far as the rust goes, it actually ain't that bad. I put a coat of paint on here just to see what the color would look like. I still got to sand it down if I paint it. But this is the rust. So that would need to be patched. This would need to be patched along the front of the bed. I changed the pickup tube for the fuel pump, so it's got a new pickup tube. And I've got a 24-volt inline fuel pump. This thing primes really quickly. Pretty new batteries. Has some extra fuel line in there. Now on the tires, let me show you the other rust and I'll show you the tires real quick. A good walk around. See where I primed the fuel system? I had to replace 2 fuel lines and it's not leaking. I had a small leak and I went ahead and replaced another one that needed it. So it's good.